Yeah, so that is what my mother taught me.
Yeah.
And then you come to my dad.
What is purpose? How would you define it?
Purpose for me it's about helping others find themselves.
Yes.
When I woke up, I was surrounded by just machines, you know. I had shops, I had so many things around me. One of the nurses, when she saw me, she cried. I was not scared, you know. And that's where I've seen the grace of God.
And welcome to Conversations with Miss A. My name is Azmarandidi and I'm the host. Let's quickly do a review of the previous episode that we had with Nechandama. It's important that you guys share the videos, that you subscribe, that you like, because that way we're able to reach more people. Fungani Marigana says, thank you so much for this. Enjoyed every minute of this conversation. So much wisdom from her, so much to learn from her, hoping for a part 2. So obviously you guys enjoyed the conversation. I promise you we're going to have her back on this show. Today, however, we're coming to you from Lera Boutique. I'm with my sister friend, Tebogo. We've really come in full circle, Tebogo, if you do recall. Close to a year now, I said to you, Tebogo, I'm going to have a YouTube channel, and you encouraged me to have one. So finally, here we are. How are you? And how are you feeling about this moment, really?
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Yeah.
So I think this is a divine appointment.
It is.
It's a divine appointment. Yeah. So I'm blessed. I'm happy that we are finally here. We are finally doing this.
Well, I'm happy to have you here. Tebogo wears so many hats. I'm just going to mention but a few. She's a leader in every aspect of her life. My goodness, I was thinking, who's Tebogo? What do I have to say about Tebogo? And I'm like, good Lord, we're going to have to be here the entire day. I call you VC because that's what you are, vice chair. But apart from that, you are a leader. You're leading your son as a single mom. You're a leader at church. You're leading even in the corporate space where you work. She's a business person. You are a sister of mine, a mother of one but many. But I want to hear from you. Who is Tebogo?
Wow, what an introduction. Thank you so much. Who is Tebogo? Tebogo is the daughter of the Most High God. God's favorite child.
Yeah.
The one who's blessed and highly favored.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's Tebogo. And I'm saying this because of the things that has happened in my life. Hence, I call myself the daughter of the Most High God.
Yeah.
And as you have mentioned, Tebogo is also a daughter to her parents. Tebogo is a mother. Yeah. Tebogo was raised by a grandmother who took care of the first 12 years of my life. My grandmother Mamuso. So I grew up in the villages with my grandmother while my mom was working in Pretoria. So I grew up at the village called it's Jerefeng in Mametlaka. Yeah. I'm not sure if you know where that is.
No, I have no idea.
You have no clue. Yeah, so that is where I grew up with my grandmother, who has taught me a lot about life, you know. She took care of my foundation years, and I am who I am today because of her. You know, if your foundation is good, it's like when you're planting a tree, you need to take care of the roots. So if the roots are not taken care of, if the roots are not nurtured, then that plant won't grow well, you know. So hence sometimes I will speak to God and say, God, can I please have a visiting, moment, visiting hour with my grandmother in heaven, just to go to her and say, thank you so much. Yes, my parents, they took over, but those basic years for me were very, very, very important. So I learned a lot from my grandmother. I learned how to carry yourself as a woman.
Because I also wanted to ask you, hearing you speak of your grandmother and you speak so highly of her, a lot of young people my age and those younger than myself are actually raised by their grandparents. What are some of the things that she actually instilled, some of the values that she instilled in you?
How to take care of myself. How to carry myself as a woman. My grandmother also, was wearing so many hats. She was a house executive, not a housewife. House executive. That's my grandmother. While my grandfather was working at, I think back then it was railway, and she took care of everything. She was a mother, she was a grandmother, she was a businesswoman. My grandmother's home was a home for everyone. It was a home for everyone. And one of the stories that I would like to share is my mother had a cousin, and I think from what I heard from my mom, the story is that the cousin's mom passed on while the cousin was still a baby. So what my grandmother did, because the cousin was the same age as my mom, more or less the same age, she took the cousin in and took care of her, and she was breastfeeding both of them. So they grew up more like twins. So those are the values. And another value, how to carry yourself as a woman. I'm going to tell you a story of what happened while growing up with my grandmother, going to school there. So there was this boy, I don't know whether that boy had a crush on me or what, but the boy was just irritating me, always teasing me. So this other day we coming from school. So this boy is busy teasing me. So he must first pass my grandmother's home before he gets to his home. So I did the timing, I calculated. I'm like, when we get to the gate, my grandmother's gate, I'm gonna fight this boy. And it happened. When we got there, I started fighting the boy, and then luckily he fell down, and I was just on him, just stopped. And that time, I was protecting myself. That time my grandmother is watching, sitting under the tree. My grandmother didn't say anything. I felt like a hero, and everyone was praising me and laughing at the poor boy. Then I went into the house, and she didn't say anything. I did all the house chores, did my homework, and then I took a bath. And then while I was in the bedroom taking a bath, my grandmother came. And with the elderly people back then, they beat you first.
True, and explain later.
So then my grandmother was busy on me, lashing out on me.
You think you'll be celebrated.
And as she is beating me, she goes, "Why are you fighting with boys?" Okay, I cried, and then from there I tried to explain, and then she said to me, "You do not fight. Women don't fight. You don't fight. If somebody is bothering you, if somebody is making you uncomfortable, you come and report them. You do not fight." So those are the values that I learned, from my grandmother, how I carry myself, So those were the basic years. And then from there, I moved in with, I had to go and stay with my parents. with my parents, I also learned some values, you know. I was raised by both parents who are very neat. They are now in their 70s, you know. My dad is 73, my mom is 72.
Yeah.
You walk into their home, you will think there is, you know, a helper, you know. They are so neat. I gained a lot of wisdom from them, and I'm still learning every day, and I thank God I still have them in my life, you know.
True.
So from my mom, what I learned, my mom is a sweet person, very sweet, very gentle. Again, my mom was that one who's welcoming all the kids, you know. So with my mom, I learned prayer.
Yeah.
You go to my mom with challenges, my mom would say pray.
Yeah.
Nothing beats prayer, you know.
Yeah.
So those are the values that I learned. So hence I'm a prayerful woman.
Yeah.
And even before we started, what did I say to you?
You said, let's have a moment in prayer.
Let's have a moment. Let's invite the Holy Spirit to take over. So that is what my mother taught me.
Yeah.
And then you come to my dad. So there's this other side of me that people don't know. So if you, immediately if you see that side, you must blame it on my dad.
All right.
Because with my dad, while my grandmother was saying, do not fight, like physical fight, my dad was saying, do not take crap from anyone.
And I think it also, that's why the first time I actually met you, I think you probably don't recall this. I attended the same meeting with you. I think it was on Teams. And on the other side, it was this woman. Somehow I'm attracted to women who are very bold and who are very courageous. And I was like, oh, okay, I've received mails from her, but who is she? So I think we can give a lot of credit to your dad, who raised you as a very strong woman. And also what I hear you say is that your mother, your grandmother rather, instilled this inner confidence that you don't have to be external about everything. Your strength can come from within. And that's what you portray every time you take up rooms and boardrooms. And that's really how you come across. So wow, you were raised by very strong people. But I'm thinking, you know, somebody may be saying, listen, I didn't have the advantage of having a strong father like that to raise me up. It's crucial, especially for men, to be present in the lives of their duties. What do you have to say to that person who says, but there's really, I don't have this to my advantage? What do you say to those people?
You know, one thing that I know about God is, you might not have that biological father, but there would be someone in the family who will play that role of a father to you.
Yes.
As you know, I'm a divorced person, but I must tell you, my dad played and is still playing a major role in my son's life. My sister is also a single parent. My dad is playing a major role in my sister's daughter's lives. So there will always be someone, and you know, and sometimes what God does is He will give that single parent, and I don't want to say mothers only, because we have single fathers, you know, single fathers who are doing well, you know, who are raising their child, their children so well, you know, and you look at that father is able to take the role of a mother and a father, you know, and you find a single mother who is able to take a role of a mother and a father, you know. So that is how God works. That is how God works, you know. We have children who are orphans, like because maybe their parents passed on. But you find out those children were raised by communities.
Absolutely.
You know, as an African child, you know, what I learned from my grandmother is that a child is raised by the community. You know, it is important that fathers be there, but we do understand that sometimes it's not always possible but God will bring somebody who will play that role.
So he never really leaves us with a lack.
No,
somehow he makes a provision, a cover up for what is not there.
To, eh?
Absolutely.
That's the God to pray to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also from my dad as well, you know. My dad is that one of a protector, overprotective of his family. And what I always say to people, and this is my favorite line, normally on social media when I post about my family or my child, I will say, I'm not perfect. I don't come from a perfect family. My father is not perfect. My mom is not perfect. My sister is not perfect. My son is not perfect. My nieces are not perfect. You know, we are not perfect. But each and every day, you know, I strive to make perfect memories of my family. And that is why you see I'll take lots of photos and
videos, you know, capture the moments.
I capture the moments. I'm proud of my family. And if I were to ask to choose another family, I don't think I would.
No, thanks.
So in a nutshell, that is Tebogo. Tebogo is also a mother. Tebogo is also a mother. And as you said, as a mother to a son.
Yes.
Yeah, the one and only son. And if you were to interview that son, you know, he would say, you know, Mama, people tend to think because I'm the only child, I'm spoiled, I get everything. And whenever I say to him, you know, I've got so many kids, they want to be my children. And then he would say, it's not a problem. They can become your kids. But they must come to me first. I must interview them and check if they are capable of.
I'm so proud of you,
of being your children, because you know what they are seeing is not exactly what is happening. And the reason I don't want to spoil him is because I need to teach him values.
Absolutely.
I need to teach him to be responsible. You know, tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Oops.
If it so happens that tomorrow God takes me, he should be able to move on with life, you know, become responsible. So I'm a mother to my son. I'm a mother to my beautiful nieces, you know, who just keeps me on my toes, especially the little one. I speak to them almost every day. And I am a mother to a whole lot of children out there, you know.
Do you do it intentionally though? Or is it just your natural instinct? You like you said, you are a mother to your son, but then you also extend that to your nephews, your nieces, and a group of youngsters that you created these platforms for them to flourish. Is this something that you do intentionally, or it just comes natural to you?
I think it comes naturally, because I don't even plan.
Is it?
I don't even plan. You know, a whole lot of them, I would observe them and study them, and I would pick up something in them, you know. And some of them, I would look at them, I would see a great leader, I would see something big about them, but then I realized that, you know what, they are not seeing that. And in most cases, it starts as a simple conversation. You know Tato. You know, Tato is one of my kids. And how I met Tato, you know, I think she came to my office to fix something. And then we started to have a conversation. And then from there, I saw this strong, powerful woman, you know. And when we started to have a conversation, we clicked. And then she became my daughter, and you know, I've got so many children out there, and it's not intentional. I think it just happens. You know, oftentimes, because I'm one person, if I meet people, I like to observe. You know, and as I'm observing, there are certain qualities that I would pick up from a person, and especially with these young ones, you know, you need to help them. You know, we grew up, and I cannot blame our parents, because our parents didn't have the knowledge and the information that we have, you know. We had to figure out things
We
ourselves.
had to figure out life,
Yeah, we had to figure out lives.
Yeah.
So when I see these youngsters, you know, and I see qualities that they don't see in themselves, I start a conversation and I start to bring out those qualities in them. So yeah,
I think it's a God-given ability, because you do the same with me. You've inspired, you know, the people who inspire your life. A lot of people have inspired my life, a lot of them from a distance. But I like to think of our relationship as one that on the receiving end, I get to be, my heart get to be inspired, and you don't do that from a distance. You come in close. You see things in people that they don't necessarily see in themselves, and I'm grateful, really. I really am.
purpose, you know.
It is.
I always say we are here on earth to serve a purpose, and I used to ask myself before, what is my purpose?
Can you please define purpose for our audience? What is purpose? Before we come to what is your personal purpose, what is purpose? How would you define it?
So I believe that, you know, when God formed each and every one of us, He didn't just form us for the sake of forming us. He didn't just send us to the world just to live. You know, you live, you go to work, you come back, you eat, you sleep. There's that purpose that you need to serve.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
and purpose for me it's about helping others find themselves.
Yes.
That is purpose to me. You know, looking at those qualities, you know, that they don't see. It's more like helping others. That is how I see purpose. You know, and coming to my purpose, and that is what I have noticed, because we serve in different ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Whether we like it or not, we serve in different ways, and hence I always say to people, when you meet somebody, don't look at them in terms of what position are they holding.
Agreed. Yes, ma'am.
What title are they holding?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm that person wherever I go, whether it's a cleaner, whether it's a gardener, it doesn't matter to me. I always learn from those people.
Yeah.
You know, there is wisdom that comes from that person.
Yes.
You know, and that wisdom is their purpose.
Yes.
You know, I have learned a lot from people that others would just take as nothing. You know, and I remember Oprah once said, "I'm not interested in how you treat me." Because I'm Oprah.
Yes, yes.
Obviously, if I walk into a room,
You probably want something from me.
No. If I walk into a room because I am Oprah, you will make sure that everything is up to. But I'm interested in how you treat that person that is a cleaner.
That you don't want anything from. That you're not even trying to impress.
Yeah. So that is, and I learned a lot from that, you know, and that is why wherever I go, I observe people. How do they treat others?
The people.
How do they treat other people? You know, so yeah.
How did you collide though with your purpose? I know our generation is one that is awakened to this fact that we are here for a purpose, for a mission. There is an assignment for our lives. But oftentimes they ask the question, how do I know what my purpose is? How did you collide with yours? How did you come to the realization, you know what, this is what I am here. This is how I'm here to serve humanity.
Like I said, I used to ask myself that question, what is my purpose? Not knowing that I was living my purpose. But the day I realized my purpose, or the time I realized my purpose was when I have done something and I get fulfilled. And I've done something, something small, and somebody would come to me and say, thank you so much, you don't know what you did.
Yes.
And that time it was just a simple conversation that we had. And the person said, you just don't know what you did. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. I mean, this podcast that is happening here,
it's as a result of you working out your purpose.
And what did I say to you?
You're like, as you're gonna make it,
you're gonna make it. You have to do it. As we need a place that is. Like, I love nature. I told you, you're not going to interview me inside a room. And let's go out to nature. Let's talk to God.
Yes.
So once you get excited about the idea, and I'm like, oh Lord, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So every time I do something for people, and whatever that I've done for people, it doesn't even require material things. It doesn't even require money. In most cases, it's conversations that we have.
Absolutely.
It's just pure conversations that we have, and out of that you find I've touched lives. It would be such a simple thing. So that is how I found my purpose. Every time I've done something for somebody, and they are so happy, and I feel so fulfilled. I'm like, oh God, that's my purpose. I'm here to save your children.
And the impact on the other side is so huge, really. We are here as a result of that conversation we had, that 1 hour long conversation we had. And I specifically requested that we have this conversation because there's a story, all right? I always say that everybody's got a story to tell. Our stories are different, but one thing that is consistent in our story, whether we choose to acknowledge it or not, is God's grace. Is the hand of God coming through, as oftentimes people define it as the unmerited favor of God. But sometimes it's God's power that enables us, God's power that healeth us, God's power that restores us. There's a beautiful story about your life. I want you to take us through your journey. I'm convinced, sitting here, that there are a lot of people who are going to be impacted by this story. A lot of people will be motivated, encouraged. I would even dare say there will be a lot of restoration as a result. Hence, I was like, I can't sit with your story. I need the entire world to know about the hand of God that is miraculously moving in your life. Can you take us through that journey that you've had?
I think when we started, when I actually spoke about being raised by a grandmother, I forgot to mention that it was not only the grandmother, but it was the grandmother and my aunts, they also took part in raising me, while my mom was working. And the journey of my healing is I was that child, who was born a sickling. I was always sick. And one of the stories that my aunt told me is, she's the one who comes before my mom. She said, there was a day where I had to rush you to the doctor. You were a baby. And when I walked into the doctor's room, I was so scared because I thought I was carrying a dead child, And we got into the doctor's room and everything was fine. The doctor was able to assist you. And it didn't stop there, I've been so sick. I've been in and out of hospital, I've got scars around my head. There was a time where I had severe migraines, and I went to different doctors until I went to the headache clinic, and only to find out that my some of my arteries around the head were clogged. So, you know, so I had to go through a process called cauterization of arteries. You know, I've been in hospital because of the heart. You know, I had endometriosis. You know, and I thank God that even after the endometriosis or during the endometriosis process or the sickness, I was able to have a child, because there are women out there who would go through this journey of endometriosis until today they cannot have children. You know, there are lots of stories, but the major one was in 2017. My day started, you know, well. You know, I always start my day with prayer, and one of the powerful prayers that I never leave the house with is the full armor of God. I've got this one-page prayer. It's very long. I pray that prayer every morning before I leave the house. That's my weapon. I went to work. I was okay. It was the 14th of March in 2017. I will never forget that day. I get to work around 12 o'clock. I started to complicate. You know, I had stomach pains. And a sister friend of mine who was a colleague, we said, no, let's go to the chemist. We went to the chemist. I was given medication. The medication did not help, you know. And during that process, the pains were just becoming more and more and more severe, you know. And the two colleagues, because I wanted to go home. I wanted to go home and go to the doctor, but my colleagues said, no, you're not going to go home. We're taking you to the nearest hospital. So they took me to Eugene Marais Hospital. I got there at casualty. They checked on me. They couldn't find out what was wrong. And then they asked me, would you mind if we admit you so that we do more tests? And then they admitted me. They picked up some infection. You know, everything was happening so fast. And from the infection, because I was admitted now, I think it was after the second day, my stomach started to swell, you know. It was so bad. So when the following morning, when the doctor came, said, you know what, I'm suspecting, what is that? What is that disease? Oh, I forgot it. Oh my word. Bowel obstruction. Yes. I'm suspecting bowel obstruction. So, but we have to do some tests. So I had to go for, I cannot remember which one was it between the two, whether it was a CT or MRI scan, one of those two. And then I went for that. The results came. And I remember when the doctor opened the results, I could see the face just told me something was not right. And then he said to me, we've got bowel obstruction. You need to go for an emergency op. You know, everything happened so quick. You know, when you see the doctor being scared on your behalf, you know. And I remember that doctor said to the nurse, I need this patient ready in 15 minutes. And when he came, you know, the nurse was still, you know, doing his, her work, you know, slowly. And the doctor said, I told you I need this patient prepared. You know, it was a big thing. And then I was prepared. And then the next thing, when the staff from theater came to fetch me, they were also, you know, they were so relaxed. And the next thing I see my doctor coming, you know. And then he just grabbed the bed and then he ran with me to theater. There and there I knew, you know, this is big. And I was in theater for about 5 hours. When I woke up, I was surrounded by just machines, you know. I had tubes, I had so many things around me. And I was in ICU, I think, for about 5 days. And I remember my son coming to see me, you know, with my parents. You know, my parents were trying to be so strong, but my son couldn't, you know. He walked in, he couldn't even stay for 5 minutes, you know, he just walked out. But, you know, the funny part is that during that time, when all these things were happening, you know, I was the one actually comforting my visitors, comforting my parents, you know. No, it will be well, you know. I was still. Because God was present in my life. I was carried by God. I was still. I was not scared, you know. And that's where I've seen the grace of God. I think it only hit me 2 weeks after I got discharged. When I started to, you know, go down memory lane, that's when it hit me that this was big. Because I remember after I was released from the ICU and I went to the normal ward, one of the nurses, when she saw me, she cried. Then she said, Tebogo, you made it. You made it. We never thought you were going to make it. You know, so that to me was grace. And I've seen God's grace in so many ways, you know, in so many ways. That's one of the stories, you know. I'd be in a situation where I will think that things will fall apart. And just at the moment where I'm about to give up, and God comes in.
Grace shows up.
Grace shows up, you know. So my life, I think all my life, I've been carried by grace, and I think I had to go through this. I always say to people, whatever that is happening in your life ought to happen. And all these challenges that I had to go through, they had to happen to bring me closer to God. Because as this was happening, I had no one to rely on but God. I had no one to rely on but God, you know. Not even my parents could save me from whatever that I was going through.
He had to step in, and only he could.
He had to step in, and he stepped in so many times. So many times. So that is why whenever I talk about God, and hence I always say I'm God's favorite daughter, because of the things that I have seen happen in my life. So for me, that is how I have seen the grace of God through my healing process, you know. And I remember after 2017, because that happened on the 14th, it was around March, but before March my mom got sick. You know, that I think that first half of the year was just too hectic for me. It was my mom, it was me, and at that time my sister was also pregnant. I remember there was a time where she was admitted in hospital, so it was just too much for me. It was just too much for me. And I remember on the 1st of July, the 1st of July is my son's birthday. So on the 1st of July in 2017, I even posted on my Facebook.
You did. Happy belated birthday.
Now, but on the 1st of July 2017, I posted on my Facebook, it was a prayer. I said, God, the first half of 2017 has been hectic. May I please be blessed in the second half, and a whole lot of good things happened.
He's faithful though.
In that year. So, and also I think it was in 2018 or 2019, we went to Ngome. It was a retreat, a church retreat. So while we were there, you know, I wrote a letter to God, wrote a petition to God, and I was like, God, I've been so sick in my life. I'm sick and tired of being sick. May you please heal me. I need healing now. I need healing. And ever since then, I don't remember being in hospital. You know, by this time, every year by this time, my medical aid would be exhausted. That's how sick I used to be. But since I wrote that letter to God, because I love having conversation. My prayers are more like conversation.
And that's funny enough, that's actually the definition, the true definition of a prayer. It's a conversation. You speak to him and he responds back to you. And isn't he faithful to
and
do?
the only difference is that he will not respond like Azwi is responding. You will see the response. You will see the response. So that is grace to me. So I cannot live without prayer. So yeah, one of the reasons God moved me to work in Venda at the University of Venda, I believe that God wanted me closer to Him.
Yeah. Yes.
Wanted me to have more time to Him, because you know, when you're closer to your family, when you're closer to everyone,
Yes.
it's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, because
Yeah.
I miss my family.
Yeah.
But what I have picked up is there are lots of distractions. You know, you have your family, you have your friends, you have these people, you know.
Yes.
So this weekend I have to go.
Yeah.
I have to do this. So your schedule becomes so tight, you know. But when I moved this side,
Yeah.
I had that chance of being alone with God, to an extent that, you know, before COVID, I'm at an apartment where I was staying. I had a TV, and then during COVID, because we were working from home, I had to put my stuff in a storage, and then I took the TV back. When I came back last year, when we were recalled back on campus, I didn't bring the TV back because I don't need it.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't watch TV. I found myself having to have conversations with God, you know. And one of the things that I told you, I hope you have started doing that, is writing a gratitude journal.
Yes.
You know, so most of the time I'm here.
You're writing.
I'm writing. You know, and if you open this, you will notice it's all about thank you, Lord.
Yeah.
It's all about thank you, Lord. So I spend most time talking to God.
Yeah.
Even when I'm driving, I would switch off the radio. Then we have conversations. I would even laugh. I've got a friend by the name of Mpumi.
Yeah.
Mpumi used to say to me, how do you know, because I love talking to myself.
Yes. You've not developed that relationship.
Yeah. It's either I talk to God or I talk to myself. I'm my own best friend.
Yes.
If I've done something wrong, I don't mind saying Tebogo, you know. So I'm that one. So moving here brought me more closer to God, more closer to God. So
I'm also convinced, because I feel there's also an assignment that people that you to myself being one of those people that you're supposed to impact in a certain way. When you speak about moving away from family, I'm reminded of the time when Moses had to be called out to a desert so he can have that encounter with God, that time with God and experience with Him. I'm also reminded of the time when Abraham had to be called out of his family. Then God has said to him, I need you out. You're going to have to leave everything that you know, because I need you to know me in a different way. Tebogo, you shared your story, your healing journey, and I'm afraid that there may be people who have also gone through maybe similar experiences, or they've had their emotional health attacked, or their spiritual health attacked. How do one bounce back? How does one change and shift their perspective from that of a victim to that of a victor, to not zooming into experiences that they don't understand, and they're constantly asking, Lord, why me? And doctors maybe can't even explain the situation or the what's happening to them. How does one shift their perspective and see the grace that you speak of?
That's not easy. It's not easy, because I had those moments. It's not like, you know, my life, everything was smooth sailing. I had those moments. I had those conversations where I would sit and hold my pillow tight and cry and say, Lord, why me?
Yes. Yeah.
Why do I have to go through this? You know, it's normal. Yeah. It is normal. But I think with me, what changed was that what helped me to shift, you know, from being a victim, you know, to being a victor was praying. So as I would say, God, why me? I would also ask God for wisdom, knowledge, understanding, you know. So as I seek that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, in a way I got to understand that I had to go through this. You know, to be the Tebogo that I am, to be the Tebogo who can inspire us. Because had I not gone through that, I mean, as we look at your book, the story that you told in your book, if it wasn't because of that story that you told, we wouldn't be here. I think maybe one day I should interview you. If it wasn't because of that story, we wouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
So being closer to God is what helped me. You know, it is what helped me. And like I said, I would go to my mom. You know, I'll go to my mom, but Mama, why me? And my mom would say, pray. One word, that's my mom, pray. And God will give you answers. So through the prayer, God would reveal to me why I had to go through this.
You know, Tebogo, we can have this conversation for the next 2 hours, but we need to wrap it up. You are making waves through the grace that you speak of. You are the vice chairperson of the ITS user group. How did that come about?
This actually came through another challenge, you know. And as you were saying, you know, everything happens for a reason. You know, and when I mentioned my move to the University of Venda, you know, I spoke about God wanting me closer to Him. But one of the things, and this is what I always say to people, each and every day, you know, we are blessed with opportunities. And some of these opportunities, they come wrapped in newspapers and all that. When I moved to Venda, people were like, how do you then move from Gauteng to Venda? And like, they don't know, you know. I'm there for a purpose. So how it came about was when I got employed at the University of Venda in 2017, I had to hit the ground running. It was at the point where the university was upgrading the ERP system that we were using, that we are using. So everything was done, purchased. I had to hit the ground running. You know, I had to work with the team, you know, at the university, the ICT team, different business units to make sure that this project becomes a success. And I joined on the 1st of September in 2017, and by June 2018 we were supposed to go live. There were lots of challenges.
Absolutely.
You know, there were lots of challenges. We were the first university to upgrade, and as the first client to upgrade, you are the one who picks up the bugs, you know. So we had to go through that, but eventually, through the grace of God, we managed. You know, we managed to. It became a success. And guess what? In 2019, I was asked at the user group conference. At that time, I was just a normal attendee. And then I was asked by the service provider to say, can you please come and make a presentation and share with the other clients, you know, the experience of this migration, you know. And I made a presentation. I remember that presentation, there were lots of questions. People were like so interested, you know, in the presentation. There were questions. People learned a lot from that. And little did I know that
it's preparation.
It's preparation because when the following, I think it was the following year in 2020, when the term of some of the EXCO members were coming to an end, some of the people saw it fit that I become an EXCO member. So I became an EXCO member for 2 years, and then last year I was then nominated as the vice chairperson. So you see, had I not moved from Gauteng to the University of Venda, I don't think I would have been here.
Wow. So trusting God, even when we don't understand, is key. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Let's play this game. We're wrapping this thing up. What are you most grateful for?
Life.
Life.
you know, through my life, I went through a lot of things. I went through a lot of challenges, and those challenges of my life, they were preparing me, and they're still preparing me for something big. You know, I believe that I'm not yet there.
Yeah. I believe.
I know, and sometimes, you know, people are like, you know, we so wish we were you, you know.
Yes.
Like, I'm not even halfway because I have big dreams, you know. I have big dreams, and one of my biggest dream is to build a charity home. And I know that God is gonna make it happen. I don't know when.
Absolutely.
I don't know how.
Yes.
But He's gonna make it happen. So I'm grateful for life.
Finally, Mamoso Crafts is the business that you're running. When did the passion start for crafts?
Actually, Mamoso Craft, I call it my side blessing. It's not actually where I want it to be, but that's my retirement plan. That's my retirement plan.
It's doing so well. It's just that you're so humble.
Yeah, it's my retirement plan. How it came, you know what? Like I told you, my grandmother was wearing so many hats. My grandmother was a crafter as well. That's one of the things, and I think that is what was instilled in me. Because whatever I make. I didn't go for classes, for sewing classes. I didn't go for crafts classes. And how it came about, opportunities, So I was working for TUT. There was a strike at TUT. You know, students were forever striking. And then this one day I was like, nah, I'm tired of just going home and doing nothing. And then I decided to pass by the Beats place. You know that voice? That voice.
The still voice.
God
speaks to you.
God says, go to this, you know, Beats place. I went there, bought some few beads. I remember I made a necklace and a bracelet, and then from there I sent to my sister, check what I made. My sister got so excited, sent to the friends, and then they were like, no, she must make something for us. That is how it started. And now I had that unlocked that creativity in me that I was not aware of. And then I found myself, you know, creating, you know, jewelry, and it was from jewelry to sewing aprons, you know, to making the cushion covers, so many things. You know, if you go to my Instagram page, Mamoso Crafts, you will see all those. So yeah, another gift from God. I'm so blessed. I'm really blessed.
You are. I don't think we fully experienced the fullness of who you are. And when you expand on this business, Mamoso, I'm appointing myself as the finance manager. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, Tebogo. I've enjoyed this conversation. I hope a lot of our viewers have also been as inspired as I have been. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and see you next time.